So how many miles in total have you traveled?
Boy, I don't know. I've been asked that a lot. And Nation, I think it's probably, if I probably had set someplace in the 25,000, 30,000 a year when I'm doing big trips. I
Okay.
mean, those aren't all big trips, but like this year, I did one trip that was 9,000. I've done three or four different things that, the United States, couple thousand miles each.
Yeah.
I'm probably setting at 25,000 this year.
Wow.
When it in aggregate, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, it
So over 100,000 now.
oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I'm
And how many continents and countries?
well, so I've since
Maybe
the
just
time I retired in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And I don't like the word retirement, so let's just don't use that. But when I kind of slipped into a different career,
Yeah.
and that's really kind of my travel career. But I think, I know it's six continents, so I've traveled six continents, and which I'm really proud of and really pleased with.
No kidding.
And someplace around 60 countries. It's over 60.
Yeah, I got
Gosh, I need to stop. And, every time I count them, I come up with a different number. So
I think we actually have the list on the website somewhere.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
yeah, I bet
With the
that's-
video.
yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's true.
And that, just to be clear, you said since you've changed careers, but that also includes your vertical length of South America.
Yeah, right. And that was actually before I retired. So that's a good point.
Now, I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, there was a country or two that didn't allow motorcycles.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting when we went into the. I was really excited about going to Iran, but we couldn't get into Iran. They closed off motorcycles to anything. I believe it was over 400 cc's, but we had visas, so we came back, parked the motorcycles in Baku, and I think it was a Holiday Inn parking lot, and went to Iran for, if I remember right, 5 days, and flew in and out. And it was at the same time when the tensions were high between the U.S. and Iran, and actually the Iranians actually blew up a British freighter in the Persian Gulf at the same time. And I'll never forget, I was in the lobby of the hotel, and this British guy says, "What are you doing here? You're American. What are you doing here?" And I said, "I don't know. You're British. What are you doing there?" And he said, "Well, wait a minute." He said, "I'm with the BBC and the Wall Street Journal."
Okay.
And he said, "I'm doing a story." And so what an experience. So for me to get to sit in the lobby at, let's just say 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning, and hear his, what he's experiencing and everything.
So you interviewed him essentially.
Well, kind of. Yeah, I don't think he even knew I was doing it. But like 3 days later, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal, and it was from him. So it was wow. It was pretty interesting. But getting out of Iran was we actually left in the kind of late at night to get back to Baku. It's just a Tehran Baku leg, and but boy, they slowed me down. They kind of held me, and I thought, this is really weird. And it took a little while. Everybody, it was a small group because not everybody that was with our writing group went across. But anyway, we did get. I got out. Everybody else had gotten through quicker than I did.
That was the only country that they didn't let you through with a motorcycle?
Let's see. Well, there's a few countries that, like, let's just say, to get from Kenya to Ethiopia through the border, they were not letting any. If you weren't titled in Ethiopia, I couldn't get in, and that was during the revolution.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That was that was 3 years ago.
Okay.
Or maybe 2 years, probably 2 years ago. So anyway, the point is And there's Myanmar. They tell me that right now you can't get a motorcycle into Myanmar, but I don't know if it's motorcycles as much as it's a whole different world when you try to bring outside vehicles to some of these countries.
Yep.
And it can be slow getting through border crossings.
Yep.
Border crossings are the ultimate cultural experience. They are amazing. And you guys would know that. So
Well, that begs the question too. How do you ride over there? Do you have to get a license for every country, or
well,
Do they accept international licenses?
yes,
yeah. So there's kind of this farce called an international.
It is a farce.
Yeah, it totally is a
It is.
farce. And
But a lot of countries do accept it.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. I've never had anybody ask for my international license.
Oh, wow.
Ever.
Even if you got pulled over?
But all you have to do is go to the AAA office, and they perpetuate the farce. No, I think they provide a service, and but I've never been asked for a international driver's license. Now, periodically, I'll be asked about my driver's license, and I was telling this really nice lady from Zambia the other night. I said, my only problem with Zambia is I got 3 speeding tickets in one day.
Oh, I remember.
In Zambia, yeah, and
You got photos with the cops. Yep.
and they wanted photos. They wanted U.S. dollars and photos. So, and of course they didn't ask for my driver's license or the title or anything. And I pretty much always try to carry the original title.
Okay.
And in some countries like China, you do absolutely need to have a driver's license.
Okay.
Listen, I was in China. I was over 65. They don't issue driver's license to locals, Chinese, when you're over 65. You're done. But I am really proud of my Chinese driver's license, and glad to have it. It took a couple of days, and if I remember right, I'm pretty sure it took $400. So I don't exactly know where $400 went to.
A few pockets.
I'm sorry.
I guarantee it was in U.S. dollars.
Yeah.
Wow, that's it.
Yeah. We had to get the Nigerian driver's license.
Okay.
And every time they pulled you over in the cities, they would take it.
Oh, they would.
Yeah. And then you had to pay the fine to get it back.
Yeah.
That's basically how it worked. Yeah.
No.
And they weren't in cars or on motorcycles. They were standing in roundabouts, and they would just wave you over.
Wow.
That kind of actually begs another question. Have you experienced like problems crossing borders, or when you get pulled over, has anybody haggled you, or like what's your government experience, I guess, in these other countries?
The question is, have you ever had an experience like that they haven't haggled you?
Yeah, no. Okay. Well, they really do. The Zambia thing was really pretty funny, because the first speeding ticket was, you stop and you say, hey, could I see, and the Zambians had no English. I mean, especially the younger people. And so can I see how fast I was going? I knew I was over the speed limit. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And the lady was really very charming, lady police officer. She was really pretty charming. I have this great picture of her. When we got all settled up, she made me sign a declaration of guilt.
Oh, wow.
Basically, right? And it was a long piece of paper. And then she wanted to know if she could have her photo with me. And she had, like, her hair was so big that she had to pin her police hat on top of her head. And
On top of her hair.
on top of her hair, and big smile. And I really enjoyed the time with her. She did not. There was a little haggling, but it wasn't much.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was really, again, a cultural experience. I knew I was guilty. The second one was a little bit like, you're going too fast. You need to go over, and that guy's sitting in the car. So I went and to a policeman that's sitting in the car, and he wanted $20 or something, and he said, all this goes away for $20. And I said, nah, I only have $20. And then he said, well, what do you have? And then he wanted me to show him my billfold. So anyway, got through that for like 5, something like
Okay, 15
you know,
$50 off. That's not
yeah, that's right. So then but the third one, this is really funny. They had an old Sony video camera set on a tripod, and the tripod was sitting there, and they pull me over, and I went off on that guy, and they said,
You're like, I'm done.
"What are you doing?" I said, "This is absolutely ridiculous." And I said, "Show me. I want to see where I was speeding," because that time I was not speeding. And he wouldn't show me the It's just a Sony video.
So they just did to scare you.
Well, it wasn't even scared. They just wanted money.
Yeah.
And then I pulled out and I said, listen, I've been hit up with you guys 3 times. This is the 3rd time. And finally, he just said, "Go on, just get out of here." But I could, listen, every border crossing, if you go at it with the right attitude, you can go at it with a really bad attitude and you're going to have a bad time. Okay. If you go at it with the right attitude, it's almost rewarding no, I won't say it's not rewarding, but you try to make it as rewarding as possible because it's some weird stuff. I mean, I lost from Zambia to Tanzania, I lost my passport.
Oh,
And it was 2 young boys that it's very simple. It's hot, it's muggy. They had a cooler of bottled water on ice. They were selling it. So I set my stuff on the seat of my motorcycle, and I'm just waiting to go through the process. And so I set it on there and pay them, get the water, so on and so forth. Next thing I know, I don't know, let's just say 20 minutes later, one of the boys comes and said, "Hey, mister, I have your passport. I found your passport." He didn't find my passport. He stole and it was my fault. I mean, I let that get by me.
Yeah.
So there's lots of stories that evolve, but never anything that was like that just blow you away.
like malicious.
Yeah. No, I mean, you see that in Mexico as an example. It's pretty common. And you'll see some militia type stuff, but not. I don't know as though I've ever felt necessarily threatened by any of it.
Okay, good. Wow.
Now, the way you handled I think it was the border crossing in China, where they wanted your phone
Yeah.
and you refused. Talk about that.
Well, it wasn't that fun at the time, but we had our small travel group, and we go into this room, and we kind of sat down. It was almost classroom style, and we all sat down, and they were collecting phones, and then they wanted your passcodes, and because they wanted to investigate your phones. What they wanted to do is put probably a tracking. They probably wanted to put something on it, and so I would not turn my phone over. I said, just tell me what you want to do and what you want to see, and I'll show you. But I'm not going to give you my phone.
So they knew you had one.
Oh yeah.
Were you the only one that refused?
Yes, I am, and I'm not trying to be gallant or cavalier about this. I really did not want to give up my phone, and I resisted. And next thing I know, they took me into a different room, and they brought out what I think was some type of a captain or a higher ranking individual. But anyway, the higher ranking individual, he was actually pretty tough at first. And he kept saying, "Well, you're traveling on a 10-year China work visa. Are you working?" I said, "No, I'm not working. I am traveling." And he says, "Well, you need to have a visitor visa." And he said, "You have the wrong visa." And almost like he wasn't going to let me into the country.
Yeah.
And he said, "So what kind of work do you do?" And I said, "My company, and at that point, I I had left
Yeah.
I had
You
stepped out-
retired.
I had retired. No, we're not going to use that word. So anyway,
Transition to an hour.
but anyway, I think it's when I told him, I said, we make French fries for McDonald's in Beijing. His face, I mean, it lit up. He was so excited. He loved McDonald's. He loved French fries. He never took my phone, patted me on the back,
Ask for a picture.
wanted a picture, and I went back in to the room, and we were all on our way out.
Tummy.
But yeah, but it was really
That's hilarious.
pretty ridiculous.
So you know that there's a universal language. Well, there's a universal food.
Yeah, there is. Actually, potatoes and French fries are pretty universal. So for sure.
And McDonald's French fries.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Yeah, that's true.
I got a funny story. Every time I'm in a country where there's a McDonald's, I try to stop and get like some French fries or something.
You try the local burger, the local sandwich, or
They're all the hamburger's always different.
always
Yeah. They well, not always, but virtually pretty much always different.
And then they usually have a local food that they've turned into some sort of McDonald's.
Exactly. But I try to stop and do that and then get a photo of, and sometime it would be fun I need to collect all those photos.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And actually I was even asked at one of these days if I would tell about my travel with McDonald's, traveling on a motorcycle and eating at McDonald's. But, in all honesty, I'm not saying I eat at every McDonald's I stop at, but I try to go in, check it out, see what's going on, maybe buy a cookie or something. But the point is, it's just something fun for me to have. Is any country that I'm in, I try to experience the McDonald's, and there's something about that appeals to me. Some people think I'm crazy. Why would you do that? And that's awful food. Well,
But-
it's not awful food, by the way. I defend and support McDonald's. So.
But there is something about, like I was saying, they usually have a local offering, something that's,
Right.
for the culture.
Yeah, they
It's-
do.
McDonald's truly are very specific to the culture.
Yeah, very much, and
And yet they're
very much supported.
there's still something that is familiar.
Right.
So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's just fun and you can see the way, locals experience an international
Yeah.
brand. And things like kiosks. I mean, almost all these foreign operations, McDonald's operations, they're really into kiosks. And we're starting to experience that in the U.S. And, like airlines, we're seeing kiosks.
Yeah.
McDonald's kiosks,
Yeah.
they become quite the thing now. But the first that I got to experience McDonald's kiosks was probably in China. Well, no, maybe Gdansk, Poland was probably the first time.
Poland.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's pretty remarkable. And if you think about the cultural experience of understanding when a family comes into a McDonald's and watch the process by which three small, let's just say, Ukrainian or I didn't experience that. Let's just say Hungarian family and three small children, and the process that they go through because they are so excited about being at McDonald's.
Yeah.
I was in Gdansk, Poland one time and watched a school bus pull up, and it was the most fun, exciting, out of control circumstance ever. But I stayed for the whole thing until they loaded the school bus back up.
Wow, that's cool.
And and they all wanted to sit on the motorcycle, and I kept saying, "Go get a teacher, go get a teacher." But the other thing that happens with these, when you get to experience these young children in these circumstances, how much English is spoken. There's just a ton of English spoken around the world in primary school children.
Yeah, wow.
And here we are we really committing as Americans to, a secondary or alternate language?
And yeah.
that we could deep dive into. Maybe.
Yeah, I know.
And it's a big mess in my life. So
Yeah, I know. I understand that. Well, do you want to give a brief rundown of your previous career? Isn't in so there's a little bit of context on like why McDonald's is really special.
well, I can. You know, my career at the Simplot company was long and it was spectacular. And one of the primary suppliers of French fries to McDonald's in various places of the world, of course, primarily North America, but also in other places all over the world. And I got to see McDonald's from the inside out.
Yeah.
And I think it was such a profound. I watched the commitment that they had to food safety and to developing products for a developing world.
Yeah.
And I just really have respected and admired the company for quite some time. It is changing. I'm pretty convinced it's, but don't we all have to go through some level of evolution and change?
Yeah.
And they are a global brand, one of the most powerful global brands that you could ever want to experience. And they've done an exceptional job of growing the business. So that's probably why I connect to it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Before Simplot,
Yes.
you were at Land O'Lakes?
I was at Land O'Lakes and in the seed and kind of the seed technology side. And I was the CEO of a company called Land O'Lakes called Research Seeds. And we actually put together a group of companies and did genetic engineering, genetic modifications to alfalfa seeds. So the primary alfalfa varieties in the United States now come from that company. That was a lot of years ago. So I came to Simplot in 2020, the first of the year, 2020.
Okay.
Or no, it's 2000. I'm sorry, now it's 2000. And then I stayed till the end of 2019. So, I always just say it's a 20-year career at Simplot, 20-year career at Land O'Lakes. And Land O'Lakes was like 22 and Simplot was 19 and a half or something.
What did you do before Land O'Lakes?
Wow. Before Land O'Lakes, I was really young then. But, listen, I've kind of had this lifestyle, of course, school. And I mean, I went to Land O'Lakes when I was probably 24 years old, 22 years old.
Wow.
Think about it.
Wow.
So
you ended your school career.
Yeah.
Because you didn't actually graduate when you were 21.
Well, no. So what is a pretty interesting story is I chose not to graduate from college. So I had another year left and I had an opportunity with Land O'Lakes to go to work in their the management trainee, or I don't exactly know how official that was, but I had an opportunity and they said, listen, you can go to school on us. And my very important mentor, a guy named Bob Fettinger, and he's a very, very important person to me. And he said, listen, go ahead and come here and you can finish on us. Well, I never finished and I chose not to because I was trading this incredible being on the inside of business learning for going back and finishing my general ed requirements
Basically it was a better college experience.
Well, and so for me, and what became pretty interesting is that I had every time that I would get ready to finish up, and it was just general ed stuff. When I got ready to finish up, every single time there was an opportunity to go take on him. I was one of those people that when somebody said, when the CEO of Land O'Lakes or the COO of Land O'Lakes or somebody would say, hey, we've got an opportunity, I would put my hand up and say, put me in, coach. Wow. And I couldn't do that and go to school at the same time. So I kind of let that go.
Mhm.
Am I comfortable with that? Yeah, I'm totally comfortable with it. Was it an incredible experience? I mean, I felt like I got my own personal MBA from being on the inside. And I was really fortunate. Here I am in my mid 20s or early 20s, even. And I'm on the inside of deals. I'm on the inside of leadership practices and management practices. So, and I absorbed every single, and to this day, I still absorb
Yeah.
any of that I can possibly find.
Yeah.
I think one of the big questions that comes up frequently is, where do you go from here? And listen, I'm 71 years old. I don't feel like I'm missing anything from when I was maybe 51 years old. Dark hair, I guess, but I'm not missing anything physically, I don't think. And I have a lot to do with the so-called perspective on purpose. I'm still curious. I still have. So right now I'm kind of in the state that I'm going to stay close to home. Joan and I have this wonderful farm and ranching activity that we really, really enjoy. We enjoy doing it together, and so I'm going to stay close to home for a while. I'm not saying that I won't do a week trip here or a week trip there. That'll probably still happen until next year. And next year, there's my friend Pablo would really like to, and I agree with him. He keeps saying, we've got to go to the Amazon. We've got to go to the Amazon. And I agree. That's really important. So probably we'll do that. And then I'm very, very committed to get into the Himalayas and make sure I really have a deep respect. I have a deep respect for that culture. And I want to experience it off of a motorcycle. And so that probably happens next year too. Where do I go from there? I still need to go Southeast Asia. Joan and I both would like to do, the Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, the Ho Chi Minh Trail. So we'll probably do that in the next year or so.
Does she ride a motorcycle with you?
No, she has, but
cool.
she's kind of done doing it. So, I mean, she's kind of like, I've done that.
Yeah.
And
Just not like you.
by the way, I'm not going to ride on the back. So
So we need a car.
I don't exactly know what this means, but I will. Do I think that I'm going to go on a lot of 3-month or 4-month or 10,000-mile trips in the future? I don't think so. I think it's going to be more along the line of I'm very interested in a deep dive of let's just say Mozambique.
Yeah.
And I'll go for 3 weeks and ship a motorcycle in, pick it up, and just do a deep dive. Do I want to go with tour groups? No, I don't. Will I go with a small group? Yes, I appreciate the company. Just so everybody understands, there are times when I will break off and do my own thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, Normandy, it was a perfect example.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do Normandy. I did with a group. I didn't want to do, but I did it with my one friend, Pablo.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do.
But even then, you still split up. You
Yeah.
experience like the deep experience separately.
And then the concentration camps
Yeah.
in Poland, I did not want to do that. So I did that totally by myself. I mean, there are just things that you want to get so deep into it that you don't want to feel like somebody's waiting on you.
Yeah.
Or they're antsy or they're anxious to keep going.
Yeah.
And I found that on Europe, on this most recent trip in Europe, that all of a sudden I realized that I was loving Bavaria. And so I was by myself and I just said, hey, that looks like an interesting road. I wonder where it goes. And what an experience to really, truly do a deep dive in Bavaria.
Yeah. Wow.
And it was spectacular as an example. But that is not an adventuresome experience. And there was some level of exploration, but it's a little too refined, for the kind of trips that I like to do.
Yeah.
Not enough dirt.
Yeah. Exactly. Too many roads, paved roads. That's right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Bill.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Awesome.
glad to do this.